While it's fantastic that more and more people are getting used to the idea of doing Pilates on reformers, just know that Pilates is not only reformer based. However, because more people are getting them at home, you want to make sure that you're using the equipment safely and that you have a good sequence and flow of things to be doing. So in today's session, I'm just going to run through a really basic workout that's just going to target all the areas of your body and leave you feeling fantastic that you can do time and time again. And I'll be adding to the series as we go. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we're going to start with some footwork. The bed length is the correct length for you. And we're going to have our headrest up just so that you've got a little bit of lift. Now each reformer has different spring settings. I'm going to go on to the equivalent of about 3, the tension of 3 onto my reformer. So coming down onto your back and then just settling into your body's position here. So always good to check that you've got space between the sides nice and evenly and that the shoulder pads are equally placed away from your ear line. So in this movement, we're just going to go into the feeling of a rock of your pelvis. So you're just going to tilt the pelvis backward and forward. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you set up where your pelvis is meant to be. So going one more time down and then find that middle point where you're not in the rock and you're not in the tip, but you're very balanced. So you could balance, say, a block on the front of you and you would keep that level. We're going to start by pushing the feet out into a nice long line and then coming back in. I'm on the top edge of my heel bone, so I'm trying to keep my feet in parallel position, making sure that I'm not rolling onto the edges of the feet or the insides of the feet. And that's important because when we walk on the center arch or the center point of your heel bone. And doing footwork is part of gait training. Let's come down onto the toes now. Now we don't go on the toe itself, but on the pads of the toe underneath. And we'll do the same pressing out. So whenever you're doing your movement backward and forward, ideally is to be thinking, are my legs lengthening at the same time and bending at the same time? So we don't want to feel a jolting in our legs as we're pressing backward and forward. Hold the next movement out and then just go for a lowering of your heels under the bar and then back up. So in these moves, as I'm going to go through it, I'm not going to go through every single variation that we can do through footwork. There are plenty that you can do, but just these few are going to help set you up for a fairly good feeling. Hold up on the toes, swing your heels together and then bend your knees in and out. So we'll just be in a little frog shape for this last variation today. So we've gone through a parallel position, a turn out position, and then of course we've got one more to do, which is our turn in. So hold your position out and then spin so that your toes are looking in, your heels are out, and as you come in, your knees will touch, and then they'll go apart again. So as I mentioned today, I'm working just in a smaller range, maybe maximum width of my shoulders, not going wider. There's so many things I want to go through here with you, but we only have a short amount of time. And that I hope is what you appreciate with these workouts. So from here, we're going to then come up into a rolled position. Now, if you know you can't curl up the way I'm going to, then roll off to your side and come up to change a spring. So taking the hands behind the head and then nodding the head and shoulders forward. We're just going to find the position here first and then lower the head and shoulders back down. Feel like you pull your thighs to you, but then push your thighs into your hands with the same amount of force so that you're staying still in the legs and then rolling down. On the next one, we're going to move all the way to the top. So we'll peel the head and shoulders up and then keep going, lowering the legs over the foot bar height and then coming into a sit-up tall position. I'm going to take my spring choice down onto the equivalent of about a 2 or a 1 3/4, whatever your bed can manage. And then we're going to lie you down again. If you sat up to change springs, then come back down and join us. So we're going to go into our feet into the straps. So finding the loops behind you, pressing away and place one foot into the arch and then, or the strap into the arch and then the other one up. So we want to try and do that with the most sort of least amount of movement in your body, sorry. So we're going to find your position where you're at a 90-degree angle, which means we've got that flatness around the base of the pelvis again. And as I'm here talking to you, I'm just letting those straps rest over the tops of my legs. So you should feel fairly comfortable in this position, not a lot of force going on, not a lot of effort. We're going to press the legs all the way out and notice again, are you comfortable with where your legs are set out? If my legs go lower down, I'm going to keep feeling like they want to keep dropping and I've got no control around my lower back area. So I want to find that place where we could have a continued conversation and I wouldn't feel like I need to shift or alter in the legs. So hands are resting at your side and let's start to fold the legs upward toward the ceiling. So when we fold the legs, I'm folding at the hip crease and then pressing the legs back down again to your starting point. So this I find is probably the most common thing that people will do incorrectly with feet-in straps is you want to go to the ceiling or we cue to the ceiling and suddenly the butt is off the table. Keep that pelvis down and then press towards your start. And then similarly, if someone is getting a faulty movement raising the legs up, then as they go down, they again want to go into too far of a range. The belly pops up and there's no support again. So you have to work to find out where is my range where I can still keep everything fairly still and steady because we all have different ranges and that's okay. You've got to talk to your body. Stay at the top of this one and we're going to open the legs out to the side and then bring them back. In this position, I'm keeping the bed still as I open the legs away and bring them back. And again, 2 more times, wide and narrow. And then last time, wide and narrow. We're going to take them down again to our resting point. Turn your heels together, toes out, and we're going back into that frog position we just did on the foot bar. So again, a smooth pulling in of the feet towards you. And you want that impression that your feet are sliding on an imaginary surface. See if you can again feel how each leg is moving individually in the hip joint, but staying together through the heel action. Now, to be fair, some people's heels don't touch when you extend the legs because of what happens at the knee. And that's okay, as long as when your feet come in, they are touching. And when you straighten out, if you have to lose touch, then lose it. All right, last time we'll stretch the legs out and we'll make those toes go back up as we take it into a full leg circle now. Today we're only going to play with 4 circles around. And then a nice place to touch would be at your ribs and your pelvis, just to check that you're keeping balanced and even in this area and not letting the chest bone lift up or the ribs lift up. And then holding at the top of this one and we'll go in the opposite direction. Again, a nice smooth action around and back up. So you may have a favorite way to do your leg circles. And that is also, interesting because of how the springs work and the tensioning in the cords as you do the opposite direction of movement. All right, we're going to bend our knees and we're going to take our feet out and place them onto the foot bar. I'm going to keep the same spring tension. If you find this is too challenging for you, you can drop down just to a 1 spring or a 1.5 spring. So from here, we've got our arms out in line, hopefully in line with our shoulder position. So you feel like there's already tension on the cord. And we're going to bring our legs up into the air. We're going to keep our arms steady where they are. And you're going to slide one leg over the foot bar and then bring it back in. And then again, press the leg out and return it in. This is an exercise we call single leg stretch. So it's one of the classical mat exercises. And, this is what I love about Reformer is you combine mat work all the way through the Reformer series. And again, now hold the legs still and let's lengthen the arms down, pressing towards the carriage and then back up towards the ceiling. And again, lowering the arms and lifting the arms. We'll do 2 more like that as arms come down and up. And then last time. Now we're going to add on, as our arms go down, we're going to send one leg forward and then bring them all the way back up. And then other side goes reaching and bringing it in. 1 more time each side. Remember with these alternative moves of the legs, if it's not feeling good for you and you're not at that level yet, then don't do it. Keep your legs up. If you ever need to, just rest your toes down for a moment and then re-engage to return. We're going to open your arms about midpoint and then pull the arms into the side of the body and then widen out. So I like to tell people that your arm muscles are connected to your back muscles. So as we're lying here, you should feel some activity in the back of your body. 2 more times as we bring our arms in towards you and then back out. And then last time, bring it in, hold the arms in and make a circle. So we're going to send them up, open wide and all the way through. So we'll just make 3 circles today in each direction. And then pausing at the top and reverse that movement. So just like we experienced in our legs, you want to feel like you're smooth in the 2 directions, or notice which way is easier for you, because they will be for sure. All right, and then from there, hang your straps back up as your feet make it down onto the bar. We're going to do a flip over and bring you up into sitting. So from here, we're going to change our spring. So we're onto the spring choice of 1. So 1 meaning the heaviness of the spring, not the number of springs. And then taking your hand onto the bar. Now I'm in a Z-sit position. If this is uncomfortable for you or you're lifted up in a hip area, you can always do a cross-legged, or you could even put your feet down on the floor in front of you. So do whatever feels the most comfortable in your body shape. And again, 3 is our number. So hand onto the bar. We're going to do a side bend stretch over towards your bar and then rotate to tap the bar with your hand. Turn back to the side and then returning yourself into your starting point. I probably should have needed to lift my hair out of the way. And again, over to the side and tap, and then back to side and return. Now, what's great about this movement is that we're getting a lot of shoulder blade movement on the steady arm as we add our twisting action. And then coming back in. From here, you're going to turn yourself to face the foot bar. As you do, you let your hip come away from the ground, and you're going to level your shoulders as best as you can to the bar as you press yourself out and away. Lead the chest bone up and forward, bringing your stopper or in your carriage closer together, and then pressing yourself away. So you never want to feel like you're going to rip your body apart in order to get the twist, but you are just doing your best, making sure that your shoulder line and your ear line are staying away from one another. That was our 3rd one. We're going to press out and hold your position backward. Now bend the elbows, come forward and backward, keeping the body height the same. 2 more elbow bends. And then last time, draw it in, pressing it out, and then let's bring the carriage in and dock it. We're going to go to the other side. So just flip yourself over facing side 2. I am going to put my hair out of the way now so that I can feel a little more comfortable in my body. So from this position again, hand is onto the bar. We're going to go over into our side reach. Twist so that you can tap the bar with your hand and then back to the center and lift yourself up. So when you press away, the arm that's on the bar, I'm not fully straightened with the arm. I'm not locked into my joints. I've got flexibility so that I can move around my arm and my shoulder blade on that side. This is my 3rd one, getting into that twist, back to center and coming up. From here, we're going to spin so we face the bar, let the back hip lift off so that you can really create the leveling of the shoulders, and then slide yourself out and away, peeling the front of the chest up as you do into a little upper back extension, and then lowering yourself back towards your starting shape. Again, coming up. So as you come up, you're looking that those shoulders are staying away from the ears. Too often people will come up with the shoulders lifted or a collapse in the arms. The equipment is there for you to use. Make sure you do use it. From here, we're going to hold that line, and then we're going to bring the body closer to the foot bar and then away. Nice elbow bend, great for push-up preparation if you are someone who's striving to do push-ups. And then last time like that, and then bringing yourself all the way back in. So we're going to step off and we're going to finish with a stretch for your hip. So you're going to place your outside leg close towards the front edge of the carriage, and then the back leg is going to come away from the carriage surface. So we've got a nice split of our leg here. So the back leg stays straight. We're going to bend into the front knee, pushing further back, but still maintaining a nice right angle over the front leg. And then coming all the way back in, you can fold the standing leg if you want to. And again, pressing out, and then push the bed backward as you go into the front knee bend, and then returning yourself back in. Last time as we press it all the way out and away, and then coming back in. Now, I normally just hop over. It's easier for me to get there. If you want to, you can walk yourself around. So again, the setup is toes in line with the edge of the carriage, foot up against the shoulder pad, and away you go. Start with that back leg pressed out. Feel comfortable in your hip. And then bending into the front knee, your arms will lengthen away and then coming back. So in this exercise, double check your lower spine. You don't want to feel like you've excessively created a curve in your spine. So we haven't hinged the body forward. You're feeling more length from the crown of the head down towards the back of your leg. One more time as we press it out and have a good stretch away. All right, and then we're going to come back in. Now the good news is that was our session for today. We've moved our body in lots of the planes of movement that it's good for. As always, there's heaps and heaps of stuff for us to be doing. So watch out for some new videos that I'll be releasing relating to the reformer, especially if you've got one at home. Look forward to seeing you again soon.